It's time for the Landrum Football Coaches Show with head coach Mike Reid on Upstate Prep-Cast. This show presented by Teddy Laster Racing Stables. In addition to the Briar Patch of Campobello, Inman Fast Stop, Pool Time and Supplies of Bowling Springs, Peach Country of Campobello. And now from the Southside Smokehouse and Grill in Landrum, South Carolina, your hosts Steve Roper and Kevin Jackson with head coach of the Landrum Cardinals, Mike Reid.
Good evening, Cardinal fans, and welcome to the Southside Smokehouse Grill here in Landrum for the Landrum Cardinals Football Coaches Show. I'm Steve Roper along with my co-host and producer Kevin Jackson, and substituting tonight on the cameras, Mr. Justin Mathis. Like I said, we're live here at the Smokehouse, and Cardinals get ready for one of their biggest challenges of the year. It's a road trip to take on the number 3 ranked Clinton Red Devils. Whew, I'm telling you. Last week it was homecoming night at the Campobello Coliseum, and the Cardinals battled hard in a 14-6 loss to Blacksburg. It was a defensive slugfest, to say the least. And Landrum's defense played well enough to keep the offense in it, but we sputtered right down to the wire. We came up short. Now joining us to recap the action and talk about the road ahead is the head coach of your Landrum Cardinals, Coach Mike Reid. Coach, welcome in.
Thank you.
The dose of hard medicine to take last week.
Yeah, it was. I mean, anytime you have a game like that and it's a tight game and you can't come out on top, it can get you. It's a tough loss to swallow.
It was a defensive struggle, really was. It's the first time this season that we had gone a half scoreless.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's usually scored. We scored to both defenses. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you told us to expect a rivalry game.
Yep.
And that's what we got.
Yeah, it was. I mean, our defense played well, kept us in the game. Offensively, we just we kind of struggled a little bit. We came out in I formation and threw a little curveball in there, and we were going down the field, and it was just one of those mistakes we seem to always make. We fumbled the ball, which it happens. We hadn't been under center hardly at all this year, and it was just one of those things where the center quarterback exchange just kind of didn't mesh well, and the ball went on the ground and we lost it. But things like that happen, and it was kind of a, I'm not going to say a back-breaking blow, but it definitely got the momentum was gone.
Well, I like the formation. You know that. I've been hollering for an I formation from every school in the state, along with Kevin Jackson over here. So you're going to get that bobbled snap, because I doubt very seriously if our quarterback, Ty Foster, has been under center more than a dozen times since Little League.
It's probably been about 3 years.
I mean, you and I both were at the Little League games last week, and I saw one team out of 6 that was there that went under center, and I think that was Travelers Rest.
It was. Yeah.
And I like that. So, mix it up. Repetition makes a little bit better, and
that's right.
And in the future, I'd love to see a power I and I formation and things like that. You never know. Throw a wrinkle in there. Like I say, though, the defense played well enough to keep us in the ball game. Scoreless first half. Yep. We got some turnovers that we weren't able to capitalize, especially one in the third quarter, trailing, and we just couldn't. Coach Henson kind of got us that one, Kevin. He wished upon a star and came up with that fumble to happen.
Yeah,
and,
if you haven't seen that, check out our Facebook page. We clipped that and showed us a pretty neat little moment with Coach Henson rejoining us.
So after a tough loss like that, Coach, what do you have to say to these boys?
The effort's always there with them. We don't have to worry about their effort on Friday nights, and just try to keep their spirits up, because that's a tough loss. I mean, it's a rivalry game. When you lose 14-6 in one-score game, it's tough to not be down. And I think we all kind of were that way, coming in Monday, and you just got to shake it off, and you got to play the next game and go out to practice every day and give everything you got. And I think these guys understand that. But it's tough loss, especially like I said to Blacksburg, when I think that was our first loss to Blacksburg in 7 or 8 years. So it's rough. But you just move on and you keep your head down and you keep practicing and you just get ready for the next game.
Well, I suppose I'm going to go to what we were talking about earlier before we started taping. you have played your high school ball at a high level at Broome and went on to college and things like that. And you told me you've never played on a team that ever had a losing record.
I haven't.
So, to lose, let's just say to lose a game, 1 or 2 and stuff, you're not really accustomed to that yourself. And I know you put your best effort into it, as do the players and stuff. But in these losses, you yourself have to reflect upon some things yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always things.
It's a lesson for you.
I mean, there's always things you can correct, whether it's through coaching, scheme, whatever it is, and you just gotta, like I said, you just gotta keep working.
Well, I'm more interested in your mentality. How you're a proven winner.
Yeah, I don't like losing. I can tell you that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
It just kind of drives you. It drives you more.
Prod them till you get it.
Problem. It drives you more to fix the problem.
Yeah, so. And I like that. I like that attitude, because a winning attitude and somebody that's never really lost in through high school and such as that. It's exactly what we want to bring to this program. You got to get the mindset, the mindset of we can and we will, and eventually one of these days we will do it. All right, we're going to be back in just a few. Kevin, got something?
Well, I was going to just add in, Coach, everybody in the whole state at this point would like to be 8-0 and such, and unfortunately there's just teams that aren't. But I think one of the things that men like yourself or anyone that coaches at this level, this is all not only, the wins and losses obviously are important week to week and stuff, but a lot of what it's all about here in youth sports is about training these young men for what the future will be when they become employees, when they become fathers, when they become citizens of their community. And weeks like this is really reflective of that journey, that process that you're instilling in them, that you preach to them about. Even though when times are tough, we got to come back into work Monday and go back to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I talked to the seniors after practice today and trying to get them, some things we're going to do for senior night. And, I kind of talked to them about how are you going to respond in life when things don't go your way. Are you going to get down on yourself? Or you can't just stop going to work. You got to provide for your family.
Right.
You got to learn to push through adversity.
Right.
And
baby's crying all night. You got to keep going.
You got to swallow that hamburger. You could plug my article here with that kind of ties in if you want to do that.
Right. If Steve wrote a really good article about adversity this week, so go to our Facebook page or our website for that as well. But
I think the measure of a man is how you respond to adversity. Especially when you got a family or you got to put food on the table. I mean, it's a different ball game there, and football is the primary sport that will teach you when adversity hits, how are you going to respond?
Because everyone in the whole state is working, everyone is trying to go to that common goal. So, everybody's trying to do the right thing. It doesn't always immediately pay off in results and stuff.
Right. And it's a tough life to be in a high school coach's position nowadays, because I tell you, first of all, he's a father. That comes first. Family comes first. Yep. Then you're a teacher, and then you're a coach.
That's right.
And then you're a mentor. And then I saw you Sunday. Yep. You took all the guys got together and you went to church.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you just
that's family.
You just try to instill the good things that you want the guys to do the rest of their life. Just try to show an example, and we got a great staff that does that, and we got great kids. I mean, their parents have done a great job of already setting that standard, and we just try to maximize that as much as we can through the game of football. So, it's just important to me that these guys leave. We may not be successful this year on the field, but we're going to be. But I want them to be successful in life. And if that costs not winning many games this year, then it is what it is. I would rather them be great fathers and great husbands and just, great members of society.
Well, speaking from my own personal experiences, I see some guys that come up to me that have children that go to Landrum here now that I wrote about a long time ago, and they're in their 40s. And those guys got the type of mentorship and coaching that you're bringing from a coach that I knew, and these are well-rounded, great young men, and you see them come by and to say hello a lot. Coach, we'll talk more about this week's opponent coming up in just a few minutes and have a couple of players come in. And you're watching the Landrum Coaches Football Show here at the Smokehouse Live, sponsored by Teddy Laster Racing Stables.
There's nothing better than award-winning jumbo wings while you watch great sports programming on huge flat screens at Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. If you love wings and a whole menu of great food and drink options, come to Wings Etc. for lunch, dinner, and snacking, and lots of HDTV sports. And now, when you can't eat and watch the game here, order online for pickup at togo.wingsetc.com. It's fast, easy, and convenient. Wings Etc. Grill and Pub, good food, great times, and online ordering at togo.wingsetc.com.
Do you have a tree problem? Look no further than JB Trees LLC. At JB Trees LLC, we strive to provide a wonderful experience with professional service marked by excellence, all at reasonable prices. Schedule your free estimate today by calling 864-497-8511. That's 864-497-8511, or visit us online at jbtreesllc.com. JB Trees LLC, where your vision meets our expertise.
Are you concerned about the economy, interest rates, or current market conditions? For timely information based on sophisticated research, call Raymond James Financial Advisor Tom Dixon at 864-582-1611. He can discuss your specific needs and help to provide you with investment choices that make sense for you. Call Tom at 582-1611 in Spartanburg for an appointment. Raymond James Financial Service, member FINRA, SIPC. Life well planned.
The Flounder Seafood Restaurant, located at 160 Barbado Lane in Spartanburg, opens every Wednesday through Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Serving the upstate since 1969, they have been twice voted Spartanburg's best seafood restaurant. Everything at the Flounder is fresh and homemade, from their specialty stews to their famous hash and their signature flounder. Visit the website at flounderfishcamp.com. Come visit the Flounder, where there is a line, but it moves quickly. The Flounder at 160 Barbado Lane. Give them a call at 864-576-3165.
All right, welcome back to the Southside Smokehouse here in Landrum, South Carolina. Hey, we've got with us this evening one of the most dynamic ball players that I've seen at Landrum in my 7 years of hanging around, and maybe since Kevin Jackson's been around, and he's been around since the last century, I believe. Mr. A.J. Lindsey. A.J.'s been out for the last 5 weeks with a shoulder separation, and he made it back to the turf last Friday night, along with our defensive coordinator, Coach Driggers. And Coach, tell us a little bit about this young man that you've brought to see us tonight. I mean, I know he does it all, but, you know, how proud, and from your coaching standpoint, what do you get out of him satisfaction-wise?
He just flies all over the field, and if you looked at our games before he got back, you could tell we were struggling on defense a good bit. Having him back, you saw the output of our defense, you know, only giving up 14 points. So he does everything we ask him to do, flies around the field. Sometimes he tries to do too much, but you can't fault him for his effort. He's always around the ball, always trying to get the ball out, and does a great job for us. He's one of Kevin's favorite players, I do believe. Kevin's followed him since he was in Little League, and I know you wanted to mention something about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Justin, you don't have to pan over here because I'm over here in the dark right now, but I will say, I mean, I think I've told this story before. I remember he was in Inman Youth, and I knew probably your daddy was coaching the team because it was always whatever it was, Lindsey and stuff, so I figured he was coaching the team. And first time I think I saw you run, you were trying to cut to the outside, and you really at that point didn't have a lot of speed. And I'm like, well, why they got this kid at the running back position? The next one you got to go north-south and just ran over about 2 or 3 people. And I said, oh, that's why he's the running back. So he's always had a hard nose. And when he come up here, this kid – always prepared, always in the right place, and that's why he's always, on a normal year when he wasn't injured, he's always had 15, 20 tackles a game because he just always knows the right place to be and is just instinctually one of the most instinctual players I've ever seen.
I've always called him the motor man.
Yeah.
Now, Eugene, thought I forgot that, didn't you? We're going to sit around here, we're going to talk about you. How you feel about that? Because everything we said is heartfelt and true. Okay, you're a dynamic player, and we're fortunate to have you. Tell us, coming back last week for homecoming, the weeks prior, having to stand on the sidelines, because I know you're itching to get in. How did that feel?
It sucked being on the sideline, especially in some of the games where we were losing. You know, you just want to be out there helping the team, and when you're stuck on the sideline, it sucks sitting out there. There's really no other way to put it.
The coach told us the week before about Blacksburg, the key was to stop the run. and which y'all did the first half. I mean, a scoreless first half because you shut them down. It's a war of attrition. We don't have the numbers. And you're a senior, and I would like to know, would you like to make a plea to the kids that are out there listening to stick with it? Let's get numbers, and you are going to be known as the cornerstone of what's going to happen in the future, because they'll look back to players like you and Coach Cannon last week. You can look back to players like that of what they've accomplished here at Landrum High School. You're building a foundation of something that could take off in a couple years. We just need the numbers. You played in that Inman Youth League, You played in that Inman Youth League. You came up here. You see the Landrum Youth League on Saturdays playing. What would be your message to these young kids today?
I would say when you get to high school, drown out what all the people who don't play football say, because we lose a lot of players because the aura around football at Landrum is not the best, because people who don't even come on the field are like, they suck, whatever. And we're losing players because of that. So if you drown out what they think, because it don't matter what they think, it matters the people that are in your team think, then we'd be better off because we'd have more numbers. So it don't matter what they think. If you like playing football and you want to play football, come play for Landrum.
My experience was many years ago in Brent that it's not just those kids around you or the kids in school. It is the community. When you walk into the barbershop this week, and you want to get a haircut, and the barber or somebody says, I'm not saying which barbershop, I'm not saying it happens, but this happened years ago. Who you playing this week? Oh, we're playing Clinton. Oh, you're going to get whooped. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
That's not the attitude to have in the town or the community, no matter what. So we changed that years ago, and it can be changed here too. And it starts with players like you who have laid, like I say, the foundation of showing what hard work and determination means to a program. And Coach, you got anything you want to follow up with my ramblings?
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely with what AJ said. It's about changing the mindset of the kids in the school, and it's harder to play football these days with all the distractions outside of school and phones and all that, And then it's easier to play basketball. It's in the air conditioning,
In which you do that also.
Yes.
Pretty good basketball player too, I hear, isn't it, Kevin?
Coach Driggers say tough guys don't play basketball, they wrestle.
So I take it that Coach Driggers is in charge of the WWE up here also.
No, not anymore. I did half coach wrestling, and I wrestled in high school. I told him it wasn't tough enough. I said they call it boys basketball.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
They don't call it boys wrestling.
Now this is mine and your we've met several times over the years, but I think you knew me before I knew you, because you were somewhere that I was at years ago before they ran me out of town.
Yes, sir. Me too.
So we have common ground. We have common ground there. Coach, anything you want to add? AJ, anything you'd like to add? Because for this Friday night, we know that you're facing one of the best teams in 2A football. They could be one of the best teams in 3A football if they were there. And they would be very competitive and probably be one of the state-ranked teams in 4A. So you've got a lot of freshmen, several freshmen on the field with you. You've got sophomores, and you've got to be the leader. And this is going to be a battle. And to put it bluntly, for players like Zeke Pori, it's going to be a baptism by fire this Friday night. What do you tell? I do too, but this is a big foe.
Yeah.
And you got to rise to the occasion. And that's where you come in as a team leader.
I think the best thing we can do with Clinton is to worry about ourselves. They might be real good, but I don't think that it matters. But that's something we can't think about. We got to focus on we're Landrum, and we're going to try and do what Landrum does.
And I think that's what y'all have done all season long. Let's worry about ourselves and not about anybody else. And that's the way to go about it. So, Coach, as for you?
AJ took the words out of my mouth. We're going to focus on us. Clinton's the opponent, but we got to get better at what we do, and that's our goal, is to play physical with them and see what happens. Defensively this week, what are you facing? You would think Clinton's a power team. They're not really. They're a perimeter team. They like to run it on the outside. We got to stop the outside run and dare them to run it in the middle. Number 3 is a great player. If you watch him play, he is very, very fast. Try to slow him down some, and they're good at what they do, and we're going to try to stop that.
Driggers, tell us a little bit about this grown man they got on the left tackle down there, and that's If you've seen any tape on him, I know you've been with other coaches. It's 3-star ranked player at the left tackle position.
Yes, he is
6'4", 330.
He's a big youngin. He stands out on film.
Yeah.
You know, so and they like to run
Panoramic film at that.
Yeah. Luckily, though, like I said, they're a perimeter team, and their receivers and their H-backs and block very well, but they like to run in on the outside.
I had spoke with Coach Reid earlier, and I'll probably say this to him again later, with senior leaders like AJ and, again, harping on laying the foundation and things like this. This is the type of game that you use as a measuring stick, because what you see across the line is what you hope that your program can be someday. This is what you aspire to be. No different than when we had to play Abbeville the last several years. This is what you would love to be, and it's all about getting more kids involved and stuff. But it's a measuring stick of, and you can sometimes overcome brawn with numbers.
Right.
And it's just get more kids out there. All right, guys, thank you each for showing up this week. Finally glad to get ZZ Top up in here, and AJ.
Everybody's crazy about a sharp-dressed man.
I do believe AJ, since we've been doing this show, has probably been our guest more than anybody.
Probably, I think it's third or fourth time at least.
Maybe fifth.
Something.
So he's got a lot of free meals over the last 2 years, and we hope to feed him again before the season's over. All right, we're going to be right back after this, ladies and gentlemen, so stick around. Come join us in just a minute with Coach Reid.
Hey guys, this is Todd Waddell with Upstate Prep-Cast. When the storm hits, trust the guys who've got you covered. Guy Roofing. For over 50 years, they've been protecting homes and businesses across the Carolinas with a quality you can see and a name you can trust. From inspections to full replacements, their team is fast, reliable, and built on integrity. Visit GuyRoofing.com today. Guy Roofing. Protection you can count on.
Call 864-578-4594 for your consultation today.
Discover the power of Mahindra at Mahindra of the Upstate, located at 4951 Chesney Highway in Chesney. We're your one-stop destination for top quality tractors. Mahindra, the #1 best-selling tractor in the world, is now within your reach. Take advantage of our low-rate financing options, making your dream tractor more affordable than ever. Visit our website at sctractor.com or call 864-461-2515. Mahindra of the Upstate, the official tractor of tough.
Jeff Parks and his team of experienced real estate professionals at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services see Dan Joyner are lifelong football fans, and they know for a successful football team on any level, you must have great coaching and a good game plan. The same goes when purchasing or selling a home. Let the Spartanburg office at 170 Camelot Drive be your coach with the right game plan and strategy to make your real estate purchase go like a championship winning season. Contact Jeff Parks at 864-415-0336. Berkshire Hathaway, see Dan Joyner of Spartanburg. See danjoyner.com.
This is Pastor Tyler from View Church. We're located in Bowling Springs at 5555 Pierce Bridge Road. If you've been turned off by religion, been discouraged or hurt by church, or maybe you just thought church was boring, you should give View Church a try. It's a place like none other. The people are genuine, the Spirit is obvious, and God is moving in this place. Visit our website for times and direction at viewchurch.org.
All right, back here at the Southside Smokehouse in Landrum, South Carolina, Kevin. I'm joined here by one of these.
Correct, sir.
I'm joined here by one of those offensive linemen of the Landrum Cardinals, man in the trenches on a Friday night. He knows what it's tough to man the trenches, and when you're a lineman, you're the first to get blamed when things go wrong, and you're the last to get any credit when it goes right. And nobody knows that probably better than the gentleman sitting to my immediate left, Bobby Evette. Bobby, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. What's the mindset on a Friday night? Sophomore, this year's your first year starting. When you come out there that first time and got up in there, what was the mindset?
Man, it's just cool to be out there, and after a while I got used to it. So it's just been, got to stay moving out there.
Have you learned the offensive lineman's code, as I just mentioned, that you have to have thick skin? Because, when things go wrong, everybody is going to point at the line. There's no blocking, or they fumbled the snap, or it's just always the line, as Coach Reid could tell you. He was an old lineman himself. So how do you handle that? I mean, that's one of the things of being a lineman, on and off the field.
I mean, you just got to keep your head down, just keep moving through it. Don't let it get down to you inside.
Got to go in one ear and out the other, I suppose. Coach, tell us about what this young man's brought to the table so far this year.
Well, I mean, he's brought a lot of toughness. I mean, he's played through a couple injuries this year, and he's becoming, and he don't realize this yet, but he's becoming one of the leaders up front. He's played about almost every game except one. I think he was out of one, but he's one of those guys up front that we can count on really to get everybody set and know what to do. He seems to know every position on the offensive line and to kind of tells them what to do, and he's quietly becoming one of those leaders up front for us.
That leads me to this question of him knowing all the positions very well. Has he shifted from one, because we've rotated the line like, dominoes this year. So has he played multiple positions?
Yeah, I mean, he's played tackle. He's played both tackle positions. He's playing right tackle right now, and being versatile up front is a big plus. So.
Yes, it is. So you're going to hit the weight room over the season. Do you play any other sports, basketball or anything, baseball?
Throw track in the
little track in spring, but you're going to hit that weight room, I suppose, though, right?
Yeah, he stays in it already.
Does he? Man, he's got some good size.
Yep.
Good size Popeye, the Sailor Man arms on him right there. I tell you that. I don't want to mess with him. Kevin, you want to ask this young man a little something?
Yeah, stepping into those starting roles, such key on the offensive line is communication, not only, with your quarterback and such as far as, getting the play in, but communicating between each other to identify different, positions on the defense as they're coming, whose responsibilities. How is that first year, as a first-year starter, have you developed that, and how has that improved, and what are some other areas of communication you think it can improve the rest of this season as you kind of get more of a set rotation, start to gel around each other?
Did you get all that?
I think so. So I think we've done pretty good up front of, picking up backers and just watching for stunts.
I think the biggest thing that's kind of, frayed us this year is a little movement from time to time. That hasn't been the tackle. I'm not going to say who, but that's the communication part. We've had a few false starts on the offense, but there again, everybody wants to blame the offensive line for anything that goes wrong. But as a team, and you and your guys up front, when these little things like that happen, what do you talk about? How do y'all try to solve these situations?
Well, I think we just kind of don't ignore it, but, we don't take it to heart, and we just keep moving to the next play.
Because I know on a Friday night, the adrenaline really gets pumping. Because you're looking at a guy that played center, and, Coach, I'd break the huddle. The quarterback would say on two. Break the huddle, which I went first. By the time I got to the line, I'd already forgot the snap count.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about where the ball would go. I can't tell you how many times I didn't snap the ball or things, or had to be hit because we were under center back then.
It's just one of those things we kind of talked about all year is you just got to be mentally focused.
Handling that adrenaline.
It's tough. I mean, but, I think now that he's played enough football, he's kind of – and I think you get this way, the more you play, you don't really think about the small things. It kind of becomes instinctual, and you just know.
Early in the ball game, say like the first 3 snaps of a ball game when all that excitement is going on.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the time that you could – like against Blue Ridge with the halfback pass and things like that, and that's when the offensive line is really shining and things like that. But to get off to a quick start and line up properly and not have a mistake and jump on some of those first 4 or 5 snaps are critical because of the adrenaline.
Yeah, and it can get you going, or it can get you kind of in a lull that you can't get out of sometimes.
No matter amount of film preparation or practice on the field can really keep a kid in check on a Friday night on those first 3 plays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, and it don't stop. I mean, we played the state championship when I was at Broome, and I couldn't even tell you the first drive because I was so amped up, and you just kind of don't even, like I said, it becomes instinctual when you do it so much, so you don't really, you hear the play, but you don't at the same time. And, sometimes it takes that first 2 or 3 hits to kind of settle back down and understand kind of what we're doing.
But on the offensive line, it's a chess game all night. It's man-to-man. It's a battle. Two fellas going at it. And each and every play, you're trying to remember your duties. So keeping that mental mindset, how does that work with you? Are you really excited those first 3 plays and lose sight, or do you stay calm and focused?
I feel like I get a little bit excited, but I think I'm pretty good at, staying under control and remembering what to do.
That's a good answer.
I mean, we talk about it a lot, especially up front. You have to have this mentality of you can't go up and down. You got to stay flat, and you just got to make sure that you're keeping a calm head, because it can get it can get rough down there in the trenches.
Mm-hmm. Now, Bobby, I'll ask you a little bit about your history. Did you play Little League, or is this first year that you've played, or?
I started in 8th grade was my first year. That was the first time I'd ever played football.
Mm-hmm. So you liked it? Evidently, because you're still with it.
Yeah.
So you're my question is, once again, you're dedicated to get into that weight room over the summer. That's what we want to hear.
Well, I think he's got some pretty good motivation, because his dad was a former offensive line coach here.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's got some motivation.
If you'd have told me that earlier this evening, that there's somebody, he's got somebody in the family that knows what it's like on 4th and inches in the trenches.
That's right.
That makes a big difference. We might get him in here to talk some strategy and coaching.
That's right.
But, Bobby, thank you. It was nice meeting you. And, Coach, thank you for bringing him here.
Yeah, and Coach Reid, by the way, I saw the first couple plays of your state championship. It's on YouTube, folks. If you really threw some early interceptions in that game.
We've had 8 turnovers and still won.
Yeah. But you got the job done.
That's right.
For joining us, and Coach Reid, it's going to be back in just a minute. We're going to talk about those Clinton Red Devils and wrap it up for the evening. We're live here at the Southside Smokehouse in Landrum. You ought to come up and see us sometime on a Tuesday night, fan. Sponsored by Teddy Laster Racing Stables. Stick around.
So I switched my insurance to State Farm, and get this. I talked to an actual State Farm agent who lives in my actual town. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town gave me actual help with the coverage I needed. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town who gave me actual help actually knows my name. And get this. They actually say it's called service.
Call Agent Chad Wagner, Asheville Highway, Spartanburg, 585-7999.
All right, guys, 30-second commercial for GSP Security. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
No, it's your turn to go. I did the last one.
No, this one's yours.
Man, I've already got a security system from GSP Securities. You're the one that needs to talk about this.
Well, you can talk about it because I don't know anything about it, so you tell me.
I've got cameras, I've got motion detectors, I've got everything that I need to be safe at my house.
Oh, come on.
All right, forget it. Y'all both forget it. Just go to www.callgsp.com today to request a free quote.
Warrior Tree Service, your go-to tree experts. Family owned and operated since 2020, offering service from tree removal to tree trimming and stump grinding. At Warrior Tree Service, we handle it all. When nature strikes, count on us to clean up the mess and restore your property back to normal. Visit our website at warriortreeservicesc.com. To get a free estimate, call 864-278-2555. Warrior Tree Service, where nature thrives, we revive.
This is Steve Roper,
Kevin Jackson,
at Upstate Prep-Cast, and I tell you what, folks, you don't have to feel a financial strain from a clogged drain. Just call the MVP of plumbers. That's Mike Verner's Plumbing, proudly celebrating their 40th year of service to the Carolinas. Mike Verner's Plumbing has you covered in all situations, whether it's commercial or residential. So if your toilet's on the fritz and you really need to take a...
Hold everything. Folks, call the MVP of plumbers today at 864-472-8756. Mike Verner's Plumbing of Inman.
When you need trusted legal guidance, experience matters. For decades, the Stevens Law Group has been serving people right here in South Carolina. Your neighbors, your friends, your community. They handle all areas of family law with skill and compassion, helping clients navigate life's most important decision. Call 864-598-9172 or visit scfamilylaw.com today. The Stevens Law Group, local experience with a focus on family.
Hi, this is Ron Hawkins with Next Home Experience Realty. For over 30 years, I've been helping people buy and sell homes. Whether you're looking for new construction, buying your very first home, searching for that perfect investment property, or selling a home you've loved for years, call or text me at 864-415-5792 or visit my online site at spartanburghomes.net. I am Ron Hawkins, your trusted realtor in the Upstate, turning for sale into sold for over 30 years.
All right, back at the Southside Smokehouse here in Landrum, and I'm with Coach Reid, and this week the Cardinals face a very tough opponent, one of the state's highest-ranked 2A teams in the Clinton High School Red Devils, and the coach here's no stranger to the reputation that this school has on the gridiron. It's no secret, Coach.
No, it's not. No, they've had a historic program, and they have a lot of state championships, a lot of region championships, and they're always competing for those type of things. I think they've had a couple down years in my early coaching career, but I think it might have been about 2 or 3 years, and they were back on the rise again. So
a big test this week. What are we telling our players?
I mean, you got to play the game of football. I mean, that's why you play the games. You never know what's going to happen on any given Friday night, and we got to make sure we're going out there and executing what we can control. And we got to make sure that we're just flying around the football defensively, offensively executing, not making mental mistakes. And it's just it's one of those games that is going to be a physical game. So you got to be prepared to come in for that game, and that it's going to be physical. It's going to be a fast game, and they got a lot of really good players on that side or on their team, but we got good players too. And if we can cut out mistakes, it can end up being a really good game.
Give us some names of some players to watch out for Friday night.
Well, I don't know their names, but number three is he's a really good player, and I've seen him the last several years.
Is this a running back?
It's a wing back.
So we're facing another one of those this week too.
Yeah, like I said, I think I told you, going into region, we're going to face really good running backs every week.
The gauntlet of running backs, yeah.
But he's very fast. He's a physical back. Their quarterback's a decent player. He can throw the ball pretty well when they have to throw it. Sometimes they don't even have to throw the ball. But, they got a big left tackle, and he's a really good player. I think he's committed to NC State. But, it's a great test for our guys. We want to get to a point to where, we're competing with these type of teams because, to win championships, you have to compete with these type of teams. You're going to run into them one way or the other. So
a lot of freshmen starting for us, sophomores, and we just had a junior here with us, and this the type of game that you use as a measuring stick, not exactly where we are physically, but where we are mentally, so that you can, look to next year. I'm not throwing any other games out, but over the off season in that weight room, these are the games that, that you want to aspire to be able to go up and hold your head high and go toe-to-toe with them.
Well, it's like I said, these are the type of teams that you're going to play when you compete for championships. And you have to be able to be physically, you have to play with them physically, but also mentally, because they're, teams like that, they're very strong mentally also. They don't make mistakes, and then they capitalize on mistakes. And that's one thing, we need to get better at is when we have a turnover, we need to be able to score. Good teams, great teams are able to do that.
I like, knowing that you played for a state championship and won, as you said. Never really ever been on a real, a team that was ever below 500, we'll say that. Yeah. But you mentioned the word championships. And to mention that word in this community means what, Kevin? Championships in what? Baseball.
Mainly baseball, softball.
That's what we want to change, folks. This gentleman here has brought a winning attitude and a championship attitude that your children can be coached by and learn. And if we get together, man, we can make something up here. So I believe in what the coach is bringing to the team, and I want the community to be behind him, as Upstate Prep-Cast is. And it's that mentality, Coach, that you're trying to, you teach these boys. Are they beginning to grasp it, some of the younger players?
I mean, I think so. I mean, even the older players, they understand, it's a mentality. It's a buy-in. It's the small things. I was reading a quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but anyway, and it's the head coach at Villanova basketball, and he talks about how you have to do the little things when nobody's watching, because when you're going into playing the game, it's not the big things that people are going to see. It's all the small things that you have to fall back on that you've prepared for. And, you have to just – it starts in the off season. A lot of people think, well, you get into the season and that's where all the success is. No, it's the day after you lose your last game, and what do you do to prepare yourself for the next season? And it's all the small things. It's the weight room. How do you treat your body? Are you mentally trying to learn plays for the next year. What are you doing to make yourself and your team better from the day you lose to the next game of the next season?
And I believe you because, folks, it is in his blood to know these things because, like we were talking about a minute ago, Clinton being such a storied program, Coach's grandfather coached many games against Clinton High School in the 70s and 80s, I believe, and things like that. And so he's been around it all his life, as in I've seen Clinton since the 70s, and it's a storied program, and that's where we want to be someday, Coach.
Absolutely.
And it can happen.
It can happen, and it just takes, hard work and dedication and buy-in from everybody. It can't just be certain, groups of people. It's got to be everybody.
All right, Kevin, you got a question you'd like to ask the coach?
Coach, we're just you mentioned earlier about limiting mistakes, and of course, penalties have been, you can't put it on the guys that we had to play necessarily a perfect game when you go against a team because that's putting too much on them, and then you wind up making more mistakes.
Right.
But this game, more than maybe any this year, the penalties that we had issues with earlier, which I felt we kind of did a little better this past week with that. But this is the week that we really can't afford to. We got to stay ahead of schedule and not get behind the chains. And
we, especially offensively, we got to make sure that we're driving and we don't have a false start, or we don't have a bad snap, or we don't have a holding. It's got to be a clean game, and there's going to be mistakes happen. You don't ever play a perfect game, but with teams like this, you've got to limit your mistakes. You've got to be mentally focused. You got to know exactly what to do every play, and those things will take care of itself.
This is the type of team, like you said, limited mistakes. If you fumble the ball, they're going to take advantage of it. They're going to score.
Yeah, and that's what good teams do.
Exactly, and that's what we're up against this week. All right, Coach, we want to thank Coach Reid and our guest this evening, A.J. Lindsey and Bobby Evette, for joining us tonight. And as always, thank you, Cardinal fans, for tuning in and supporting the Landrum Cardinal Football Coaches Show all season long and supporting those Cardinals each and every Friday night, whether it's away or at the Campobello Coliseum. Before we close, I think Kevin wants to give a shout-out to some of our sponsors who make the Landrum Football Coaches Show possible.
Yes,
Kevin?
and very jokingly, we apologize in advance for the next 2 weeks. You're going to get every devil joke in the world and exorcism joke.
Yeah, we got Liberty coming up.
Back-to-back weeks. So he's going to have he sits all year and practices for that. So be prepared. The burning of the stake of Steve Roper may come the week after. But
well, I've got my garlic necklace ready for Friday night.
But we want to give, again, a special thanks to coaches and players for coming out every week. Give a special thanks to our local sponsors here. Of course, you see every week our network sponsors of Upstate Prep-Cast, which make broadcasts for all the 4 networks possible. But for the local coaches show, we have some special sponsors that have helped us with this local broadcast to make it better each week, including our primary sponsor, Teddy Laster Racing Stables, in addition to the Briar Patch Quick Stop of Campobello, Inman Fast Stop, Pool Time and Supplies of Bowling Springs, and Peach Country of Campobello. And if you'd ever like to become a sponsor on the local level for the Landrum Football Coaches Show, or partner with us and show your appreciation of our efforts in bringing you Landrum Cardinals football here on Upstate Prep-Cast, encourage you to visit www.upstateprepcast.net/Landrum. And with that, the wind blows. It's an omen. Say, do not use up all your devil jokes in week 1.
All right, folks, be sure and join us Friday night down in Clinton. If you got gas for the car, and load up the wagon. It don't matter how you get there. Take the bus. Just come down and support the Cardinals. And we'll be back.
Pack a grip. Head for Clinton.
Pack a grip and head to Clinton this Friday night. But if you can't, sit at home on the comfort of your own recliner, sofa, and tune in to what, Kevin? www. You got that.
www.upstateprepcast.net/Landrum.
And you can see me and Kevin Jackson and Rob McIntyre this Friday night on the air. For Kevin Jackson, myself, Steve Roper, and Justin Mathis behind the camera, want to see you Friday night. Coach?
Go Cards.